Hello, Lawncare family. I'm here today to talk about some spring and summer lawn care tips and maybe set some expectations that we should all have going into summer. So at the time of filming this video, it's April. It's the beginning of April. So spring is here, pollen is out, my eyes are swollen, so forgive me if I've got some red eyes right now. I may sneeze a couple of times in the middle of this video. But spring is here, warm temperatures are here, trees and shrubs are blooming. I think our last cold snap is over with, but who knows? 2 weeks ago here in Alabama, we had a random, I think it was a Monday, where we had a little snowstorm that came through for just 2 hours. By the time the afternoon came, the snow had melted, and then the very next day, we were in the 70s again. So who knows what the weather is going to do. But I wanted to get on here and talk about some expectations that we should have as we go through spring and we move into our summer months. And the first of which is green up. So our lawns here in the South go dormant throughout the winter months. And as soon as things start to warm back up, our grass greens back up. So as it's coming out of dormancy, right now we're still kind of in that awkward time of year where things are half green and half brown, and that's completely normal. So most of the lawns that I deal with here in central Alabama are Bermuda grass and zoysia grass. Those grasses are, like I said, half green, half brown right now. And one of the expectations that I would like to set and that I would like people to know moving forward is to not compare your lawn to your neighbor's lawn. So this time of year, the biggest complaint that I get working in lawn care is, why is my neighbor's yard green and mine is not fully green yet? Well, you cannot compare your lawn to your neighbor's lawn. Every lawn is different. So there's a lot of questions that you can ask yourself to try to, figure out why maybe your neighbor's yard is green and yours is not green yet. So there's so many factors that go into that. Mowing schedules, watering schedules, what type of grass do you have? What type of grass does your neighbor have? Maybe their lawn was just sodded a few years ago and they have a healthy layer of topsoil underneath their lawn, whereas your lawn may have been established for years and years and years. Whatever healthy topsoil you once have has eroded away. So maybe your lawn is rocky and gravelly. If the roots of your grass are only growing that deep before hitting rock, then that's going to cause some growing concerns and some green up concerns. Is your neighbor's yard in full sun? Is your lawn in full shade? That has a lot to do with it. So when our grass is greening up, it's all about the temperature of the soil this time of year. So if your lawn is in full shade, your lawn will probably be one of the last yards in the neighborhood to fully green up, because the shade is preventing the sunlight from penetrating the soil, warming up the soil temperature. So again, your lawn will be one of the last ones in the neighborhood to green up because of that. Your neighbor's yard may be in full sun, so their soil temperature is naturally going to warm up faster than yours. I mentioned mowing schedules. So when your grass is greening up, you need to go ahead and scalp your yard in the springtime to cut away all of that brown dormant grass, and also to allow the sunlight to penetrate the soil and get that soil temperature warmed back up. So that's a question you can ask your neighbor. How long have you been mowing? They may have been mowing for a month already, whereas you may not have started your mowing schedule yet. So my point is to just kind of brainstorm and think about all of the things that maybe you're not doing, that your neighbor is doing, or even vice versa. Maybe your neighbor's yard is brown and your yard is green, and your neighbor's coming to you asking, what are you doing differently? So just share the things that you're doing with your neighbor, and be neighborly. Let them know tips and suggestions. Help your neighbor out so that they can get their yard greened up as well. So let's talk about some weeds that we're seeing this time of year. And the first of which, I want to talk about poana. So if you are seeing poana in your yard right now, again, it's the beginning of April. at the time of filming this video. If you have a lot of POA in your yard, that's a result of not having a good fall pre-emergent done. So if you have a company that services your yard like me, so I put out pre-emergents, weed controls, and things like that. If your yard is covered in POA right now, I would have some second thoughts about how good a job your company is doing on your yard. Maybe they forgot to do a fall pre-emergent. Maybe they did a poor job when they came out to do your fall pre-emergent. A few patches of POA, and any weed for that matter, a few patches of weeds is normal. But if your yard is completely covered in weeds, then you need to look at your company and figure out how good of a job they're doing. And maybe you need to switch lawn care companies so that they can get better weed control down. Some other weeds that you may be seeing this time of year are tree saplings. So when things are greening up and when trees are in bloom, when shrubs are in bloom, a lot of tree saplings just float around. So you may be seeing a lot of these little single leaf tree saplings in your yard. And a lot of times those saplings are just growing from acorns that have fallen, and they're legitimately just little mini trees that are growing. You may also see little bitty pine trees that are growing in your yard. All of this is normal when we move into spring and things are in bloom. So if you're seeing a lot of these little single leaf tree saplings, that doesn't mean that you have serious weed issues, and you don't even need to apply chemicals to those weeds or to those tree saplings to kill them. Just simply mowing your lawn will kill those. Since they're just growing from a little single stem in the lawn, just simply mowing those down will kill those. Now, going back to poana that I mentioned earlier, right now, if you're seeing a lot of POA, you don't have to waste any chemicals or money in spraying that. Poana cannot survive in hot temperatures. So although your yard may be covered in POA right now, just wait and be patient. It will be dying off over the next month or two as hot temperatures are coming right around the corner. Now, if this were January, I would suggest maybe putting down a post-emergent product to help kill that POA. But right now, being April, May, June, right around the corner, hot temperatures are going to kill that poana for you. So I would suggest just not wasting your money, not wasting chemicals and putting unnecessary chemicals into the ground to kill that POA. Just let Mother Nature kill it for you. Other weeds that you may be seeing right now are nut sedge. Some people call it nut grass. If you have nut sedge right now, it usually means that you're possibly overwatering your yard, or maybe your lawn holds water. Nut sedge can only grow in wet soil. It will not grow in dry soil. So if you have a lot of nut sedge right now, I would take a look at your watering schedule. Yes, you do need to be watering right now just to help with spring green up, but keep in mind, you don't want to overwater your yard. So if you're watering your lawn on a daily basis, I would suggest just cutting that back down to twice a week, maybe even once a week. We usually get plenty of rainfall throughout our spring months to supplement in between waterings, so that you don't have to water as often. But you really should not be watering on a daily basis anyway. That's a bit excessive, especially here in Alabama where we have high humidity. So another thing I want to talk about and just ask you a question: what do you get when you combine high humidity with watering on a daily basis? So you end up trapping moisture in your lawn, and you end up getting fungus and disease and things like that are just not good for your lawn. So I would suggest backing down on your watering habits, maybe to twice a week or once a week, because you want your lawn to kind of dry out in between waterings. You don't want your lawn to be fully wet all the time, because as I mentioned, that can trap moisture in the soil, and then you'll end up getting fungus and disease. One of the main fungus that we see right now is brown patch or large patch. Large patch and brown patch is the same disease, just different regions call it different things. So brown patch, large patch, it's the same thing. It's usually where you see kind of a bright orange circle or weird patterns in your lawn, and the outer ring of of that fungus is orange. So that part of the disease is the fungus itself. So the outer ring is usually orange and it will spread out. So you really want to spray that with a fungicide if you have that in your lawn to keep it from spreading, and really focus on that outer orange ring. That's the live fungus. And then it leaves behind the dead grass in the middle of that circle. So that's brown patch that I'm talking about. So kind of back down on your watering, allow your lawn to dry out so that you don't get as many diseases and fungus and things like that. And you'll also have less weeds by allowing your lawn to dry out, especially nutsedge. So let's talk about mowing habits, okay? So here in the spring, you really want to scalp your lawn, not all the way to the dirt, but cut it as short as you can without kind of cutting into the roots of the grass. As I mentioned earlier, you want the sunlight to penetrate the soil and warm up that soil temperature so that your grass will green up. And you also want to kind of dethatch your lawn at the same time. You want to bag your grass clippings the first couple of times you mow in the spring to remove those clippings. You don't want those clippings covering your soil, because that will not allow, again, the sunlight to penetrate the soil. So these first couple of times you cut the grass, try to bag it if you can, remove those clippings out. Now, as the heat of the summer comes, you really want to raise your mowing height to create a canopy there to protect the roots of your grass from those blazing hot temperatures. And I'm talking about the 95 degree, 100 degree days that we have throughout the summer. So as the summer goes on, raise your mowing height to protect the roots of your grass from hot temperatures. But this time of year in the spring, go ahead and cut your lawn short to allow for better green up. Now, historically, for the past few years, when June, July hits, the rainfall just stops, okay? And the past couple of years, we've been in a drought the second half of our summers. So we're talking about mowing right now. If we end up being in a drought, you do not want to mow frequently. You want to mow less frequently, because if you mow your lawn on a weekly basis in the middle of a drought, you're just going to end up causing more damage. You're going to cause heat stress to the roots of your grass. So you really want more grass tissue to stick around if we're in a drought. So that's kind of the opposite of what I was telling you to do in the spring. So just kind of pay attention to the weather. If we're not getting a lot of rainfall, let your grass grow a little bit. Then as soon as we start getting more rainfall, then you can start mowing on a more frequent schedule. On the topic of pre-emergent, okay, so we're kind of getting into that time of year where it's a little too late for pre-emergent. You really wanted to do a fall pre-emergent to prevent your poana and your wintertime weeds, and then you wanted to do a pre-emergent in January and February to prevent your spring and summer weeds. But if you're talking about crabgrass, if you want to prevent crabgrass from popping up, there's still a little bit of a window left that you can still do a pre-emergent. Usually crabgrass doesn't start popping up until it is sort of early summer, mid-summer. So there's a window of opportunity that's still open. We're at the very end of that window of opportunity to get pre-emergent down to prevent crabgrass. Again, you really wanted to do that back in January and February, but it still wouldn't hurt if you haven't gotten any pre-emergent down yet to go ahead and do that right now to prevent those summertime weeds like crabgrass from popping up. So let's talk about shrubs just for a little bit and when to prune your shrubs. So first of all, do not prune anything that is currently in bloom. Like azaleas right now, they are just popping right now. It's a beautiful year for azaleas. You don't want to prune those while they are at their prime time peak and blooming right now. But you can pretty much prune anything else right now. So do a good spring pruning for anything that is not currently in bloom. So you can prune those shrubs that bloom out in the summer. It's okay to go ahead and prune those right now in the springtime. But again, as a reminder, don't prune anything that is currently in bloom, because you sort of disrupt their prime time for blooming. So stay away from the azaleas right now. Don't bloom those. But anything that is not currently in bloom, go ahead and get those trimmed back, and then you'll have a nice bloom this summer. Now, if you have any tips or suggestions that I have not mentioned here, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Help me out, help out other people who may be watching this video. Share your experiences and spring and summer tips with us all so that we can all learn together. Thank you for watching this video.